Hey Thomas, how are you doing?
I am good.
Good, good, good.
In
Yeah,
quote.
for sure, for sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
and of all those things that I didn't bring up, ready. Of course, this is our Friday show, and this
Mhm,
is our mini series. This is the first lesson Nerdom. We have
mhm,
three shows. Our main show, which usually comes out on a Sunday or Monday, and then
mhm,
we have our grab bag, which is usually our. Oh, we have a new segment called our soapbox, modeled after Stan
mhm,
Lee's. Aping that, we're aping that, cloning it.
mhm.
And we anyway, we have a very big grab bag this week, and we usually release that. We release that on Wednesdays, not usually. Um, and then Friday, which we have our mini series where we covered. First, we started in this trek into Trek. It was Thomas's first trek into Trek. I'm going to say trekking really hard. But he had never seen the first season of The Next Generation.
Mhm,
We went through that whole thing and gained a new
mhm,
appreciation for it. And then we decided we had so much fun, and it just serendipity, coincidence. Um, Strange New Worlds was coming out about the time that we ended that mini
mhm.
series, and we decided to pick that one up, and we are at the. It's kind of sad.
Mhm.
We're at the very end
Absolutely.
of these of this playthrough of season one of Strange New Worlds with Captain
Mhm,
Pike. Anson Mount is the primary actor there. He does a
mhm,
very good job. And this week
mhm,
we're going to be covering um, 8, 9, and 10, and of course
mhm.
that's the final episodes for this season, first season, and I do believe that it will be coming back for season two.
Yep.
With that, but with that being said,
Mhm.
I'm Mike, and Thomas
And
is my co-host.
this
And
is Thomas. Yeah. And we
yep,
haven't talked about these previously, so
no,
we watched them independently. So yeah, we're coming to this with our own opinions.
indeed,
And let's hit number 8.
yeah,
Which
the
what was the
Elysium
name of it?
Kingdom.
Yeah, Elysium King.
Yep.
Now, I didn't like this that much. And the reasoning behind it is
Mhm.
that we had kind of goofy, funny episodes. We had two prior to this,
Mhm.
and I just was kind of done with the funny episodes. And even though this one was kind of fun, and I liked how they didn't completely change everything, there was this entity that kind of created this fantasy world, and I like that they didn't completely change the Enterprise into this fantasy world, that they kept the core of the Enterprise and just kind of decorated it
Right.
with the fantasy stuff. I
Mhm.
like that, but the fact that they that this was yet another kind of goofy storyline, I it was like, come on, let's get on to the more serious stuff.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. This was by far the weakest episode that I have encountered. And that's
Mhm.
fair because every other episode has been great. Not every
Yeah,
other, but every
yeah,
episode I've encountered, I've been able to find some kind of a joy.
yeah,
As a
a
true
good
blue
hook.
fan. Yeah,
And
exactly.
like you, I think we both love the Doctor character.
Oh yeah,
In this, we
great
both love the
actor.
character. Yeah, and so it was great that he had a episode that was to himself, but
Mm.
this didn't do him any it didn't do good for him.
Yeah,
um it kind of let the other actors kind of play against type. They got to act a little looser, and like the Spock character got to be more kind of braggadocious kind of
mhm.
character, and the security officer got to be more of a male character. I don't know if there's a gender kind of issue with that character. I don't know.
I don't know. I
Um,
just kind of write it off because, like, to me, this
mhm,
episode, I took it as, not that it sucked outright. I wouldn't say that,
mhm,
but it was
no,
filler. This is like where,
yeah,
this is where you have it's filler. It doesn't particularly solve any issue. Really, it serves to go deeper in some characters'
mhm,
storylines, and it was okay. But
yeah,
I found myself I found myself drifting off with my phone from time to time, and like kind
Yeah.
of like waiting for like whatever exposition to kind of end and go on to the next thing. But I
Yeah.
did lose track of it like probably about 30 minutes in, and it was like 15 minutes later. It was like, oh, you know what? I don't remember anything well, I don't know what the hell they were talking about. So like I had to rewind it and rewatch that part from like where I kind of faded off. But it's bound to happen. Not everyone is a winner. Like I don't think this one outright sucked, but it was probably, I would argue, probably the weakest link. This season.
And the fact that they built up this relationship between the doctor and his daughter, I like that dynamic.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed that storyline. And I wish that they had took it in a different direction. This episode sort of like took that and was like, okay, we'll throw it off into this space alien.
Right.
Space alien fixes things. There we go.
Right. Kind of like, it was this is a box checking.
Yeah, exactly. This
episode.
Yeah.
Check, done. Good. Let's go.
And it was somewhat fun for what it was, and it was kind of fun seeing the captain as this quivering sort of cowardly character. That was probably the most fun of the episode, and then that was it.
Yeah, they were essentially the complete opposite of what their main their main persona is on the thing. I think that's what they're kind of going for, and it's it was like pretty much playing A, point B, and that's it.
Yeah, it was sort of like playing against type episode. And I think the less said is better.
I agree with that. And so with that, moving on to episode 9.
Absolutely.
Yeah, this one is the closest that we get to horror Star Trek, and I'm kind of mixed on it. I think it was good. It kind of, to me,
guess what, Mike?
What's that?
What, Mike? Gorn.
The hyena scavengers of the Star Trek universe.
With the Mandalorian, Disney with Star Wars thought, okay, we got Baby Yoda. Star Trek was like, what can we do to top Baby Yoda? Baby Gorns.
Yeah,
and the cutest thing in the universe, right?
Right. No. Those damn things are ugly
not.
as sin. But this one was kind of like where and they've done a very good job to kind of suppress this from me being a big Trek fan, big Trekkie. And what I mean by that is, like, so season 1 of the original series, you kind of find out who these aliens are. And the Klingons were that. I kind of feel like the Gorn are that, but for Strange New Worlds, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah,
but it kind of I guess this is a hallmark of like a good problem to have, because this is kind of like where they kind of run into their own circular kind of thing. It's like, well, earlier in the season we have these Gorn that are they're spacefaring, they're tactical. They're strategic, very strategic, whatever. Yeah, or that's like what you're left to believe. And then this one, we kind of like, they kind of fall off a cliff and they just become the dumb threat of the week, I guess.
Yeah, it's sort of like the alien, sort of like it's in the ducks coming at us, sort of thing. I think I liked it. I think I liked it more than you did. I'm more of a horror guy, so maybe this sort of tickled my fancy a little bit more. It in the whole Frost sort of thing. One of my favorite movies is The Thing, so maybe that was kind of playing on my sensibilities of this. And it was another one to spotlight Spock. I liked the fact that he got to dig deep into his human side and get angry.
Right, we're starting to see his character develop and get a little bit more of like the play that we had with him in the original series, which was he was pretty nailed down as a character by then, but he still had
Mm.
Leonard Nimoy did an excellent job of
Mhm.
that became him, that
Yeah.
personification of him. But yeah,
And yeah. And I hate to see the engineer go, but a way to go. I enjoyed his final performance in it, with him going away. We knew that, I guess, Scotty had to eventually take his place.
mhm,
But yeah, I love the character. I absolutely loved him. I would have enjoyed having him for a second season.
right.
But yeah, if you're going to have the character go out anyway, this was a
Right.
good way for him to go out.
Yeah,
Um,
and spoiler warning, like one of the
yeah,
main characters dies in this
yeah.
episode, and it does suck. I lament that, and I don't. The bones that I have to pick with this are good things, and what I mean
Mhm,
by that is like from the perspective of a Trekkie, and the absolute utter dumpster fire that this Star Trek Discovery was, and to a
mhm,
certain degree Picard, like where it just kind of just runs down the wall and it's just like it's just a mess,
mhm,
they, even though I felt like they kind of were running into themselves a little bit, kind of stepping on their own feet a little bit on this one. It still worked for me. Don't get me wrong, like I still enjoyed it, but this one was
mhm,
like
mhm,
you know going in that direction, and it did suck to see that, and it's kind of a little bit of a setup for a little bit later on, but
mhm. Yeah, and there's a lot of setup. Like there's a character like Newt in the Aliens
mhm,
sequel, where they find this young girl, and the security officer that we've loved. I think we both loved throughout
mhm,
the different episodes. She decides to go off and try to find her parents, and so yeah, we say goodbye to her on this episode, to maybe or maybe not to return in the second season.
right.
But yeah, this I I really enjoyed this episode. I don't know. It's
Yeah,
it
it worked overall.
there's
It
not a
did.
lot of standout stuff from it.
Yeah, they
Like I
did.
said, it's your typical horror kind of episode.
Yeah, they did. I think they did well enough. And Star Trek was never really into the horror business or even
Mhm,
scary kind of like thriller. It's never done that. So for
mhm,
them to attempt this was good. I'm glad that they did that.
mhm,
I would like to see a more refined version of this, maybe in season two, if they revisit the genre, not
mhm,
this particular thing, but to me,
mhm.
it kind of felt like a little borrowed a little bit
You don't
from
want to
from
see the
Alien.
return of the Gorn.
I do. I actually do.
Yeah.
I guess I just would like some
Yeah, we
consistency for
we
that,
did
but
get yeah, we
that's
did get to
okay.
see the ships in one episode. We got to see the baby and the sort of like, I guess, teenager Gorn. We haven't seen the full adult Gorn, so maybe that
Right.
will be in the next season.
Right.
Yeah, there's a teenager Gorn with his acne and everything.
Right. Right. On the hunt or whatever. I don't know,
Yeah.
whatever. Like the hunt has been done to death in Star
Mhm,
Trek in general. There is a Voyager episode based, a whole species based on it, and whatnot.
mhm,
Then the good thing about the Gorn is like the Gorn were never really well developed in the Star Trek, and I'm probably going to get blasted out of orbit for that, but I don't recall. They kind of they make a passing mention about them later on and further future episodes of Star Trek from the point of view of the original series,
mhm.
but they never never really quite are developed on their own. So this is fair game for them to kind of wrap the flesh
Yeah.
flesh
Yeah,
and
the
blood around
only
those
yeah.
skeletons.
I know a little bit more on this than you do.
Mm,
There's the movie series with Star Trek with Captain Kirk and everything.
mhm.
I think it's between the second movie and the third, or maybe it's between the first and the second. There's a video game for Star
Oh,
Trek that had those characters in it,
huh,
where the main villains were the Gorn,
huh,
that you get to fight against.
very cool.
And I did play that game in if you're kind of curious about the game but don't want to buy it, there's a let's play on the let's play channel on Rooster Teeth,
Okay.
where I think Michael and Ryan do a complete run through of the game, so
Okay.
you can
Very
see,
cool.
and they're funny guys, so it's kind of a funny funny run through of it. But yeah, plugins here.
Very
Going
cool.
back to the episode.
Yeah, no, this one, it did overall work for me.
Mhm.
I'm not trying to dog it out or anything like that. It's just like,
Right.
this is a good thing from my point of
Mhm.
view, because not only have they given me the gift of track back, and not some just garbage that they just slap together and then they're just doing this and that with it. Like, and again, Star Trek Discovery, like, no, thank you. But like it's good because it solidifies that they're having success, for
Yeah.
lack of a better one.
Yeah, and that
Um,
you have 10 good episodes that you could actually rank.
you
There's
can,
actually
yeah,
good episodes and bad episodes, and
right,
you can
right.
push them around, and we can actually rank them here at the end if you
Yeah,
want.
yeah, we could. But yeah, kind of going into that kind of that vein of like Star Trek is back, thank God. It
Mhm.
has that thing. And again, I said this before, for this season, this has the same nerd wobbles that the original series had, that TNG had, that Deep Space Nine had, that even Voyager had. Like,
Mhm.
where, like, it really took them to like season 2 or 3 before they hit their stride. Um, that happened a lot sooner with Star Trek Strange New Worlds than I've ever seen before. And
Mhm.
that's a good thing. That's a good thing for the fans. So
Mhm.
they finally understand how to make a good Trek show. They cracked that formula, and they've
Mhm.
been able to
Yeah.
crank out good. Again, probably the weakest one was the last one we just talked about. So like that's
Yeah.
definitely number 10 on
Yeah.
my list, as far as like,
Yeah.
no thank you. Like, I could have done without that, but it didn't suck. It didn't suck
Mhm.
relative to everything. It was just
Yeah.
filler. And you were
Yeah.
bound to get that, too.
Mhm. Yeah, and as far as worlds, I love snow worlds, like cold snow worlds. Those are my favorite.
Hoth.
And and to pair it with sci-fi, sand and desert worlds are my least favorite. so so
It's fun.
we started our channel with Dune,
Hmm.
the Dune movie, and we both loved it. So that sort of kind of set my world kind of topsy turvy, but this kind of resets it, and
All
it's
right.
like, yeah,
All right.
I still like the
All right. Well,
ice worlds.
on that, you may or may not be. I know you're kind of on the fence for that, and this is a thing for another time. But and we'll talk offline about it. But Brian Herbert, his son, Frank Herbert's son,
Mhm.
Dune, the original Dune author, does pretty good justice to that. But there is an
Mhm.
ice world. If you do dip into and read the Balerian Jihad and that whole thing, there is an
Mhm.
ice world in there that's very
Okay.
interesting. But
Okay.
anyway, but neither here nor there. But anyway, pulling it back to Star Trek,
Mhm.
that's interesting you say that. That's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what it is with me, but yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Very
maybe
cool.
it's living in the hot summers of Arkansas that turned
Yeah.
me off to it. But
R.I.P. R.I.P. Hammer. R.I.P.
RIP. Yeah.
Yeah. That's the engineer. That's
So
the
yeah, so long,
Andorian.
so long. Yeah,
I did like him as a
again,
character.
I loved him. So yeah, it was really really sad to see him go. But yeah, my second favorite is Spock. So,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
I think that was the case with the original series. So, and
Hmm.
speaking of the original series, I guess we can go on to the last episode.
Yes, we can. Yes, we can. Like, this is the penultimate, or the not the penultimate. That was the other one, but this is the
Uh,
final, the finale of season 1.
the
Um,
quality of mercy.
yeah, this one was pretty deep, pretty heavy. And the thing that I liked about this, that they learned their lessons from Discovery or whatever, is in Discovery, and I really don't care if I'm spoiling it for anybody out there, because I don't hold it in high regard at all. Obviously, I have my opinion on it, and it's garbage to me. It's just pure garbage. But aside from that, I wasn't stupid to what they were trying to do with the story arc on Discovery. They did alternative timelines, they did time travel, but they did it in a way that was just like it didn't work. But they nailed that down in this episode. And again, it just goes back to the reinforcing of how good they understand Trek at this point. And they've made Pike and his own crew work.
Yeah.
And
And
this is the cherry on top of that. So like, you want to
Yeah.
talk about our favorite episodes, we can get into it here in a minute, but
yeah, and spoiler alert, I loved this episode. I loved this episode.
good. All right,
I
we're on
know,
the same page.
I know a lot of people, it's a common trope for people to say like, this is like the TV episode, this TV episode's like a
Mhm.
movie. And I'm always like, no, it's not a movie. It's not. There's no way it could be a movie. This episode is a movie.
Yeah.
If they threw this in a theater, I would eat this thing up.
Yeah.
This
And that kind of goes to the cinematics of this. The cinematics, bar none, have been off the charts great for this entire series across the breadth and depth of it, for sure. So I agree with you there. Interesting take. I'm sorry, I interrupted you. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I just there I this is this sort of parallels the original series, which I love, the original series. And when I was watching it, I didn't immediately think of the original episode that it mirrored. I knew it was probably mirroring an episode. So I went back and I watched a making of on YouTube for Paramount Plus, where they they talked about it, and the showrunners talked about it. And the showrunners, the thing I loved about it was the showrunners knew the episode and were invested in Star Trek and wanted to mirror some of the shots and some of the scenes and wanted to make it look the same. And I loved it. And I loved it. Yeah,
they nailed it.
Yeah, I loved it so much. I went back and rewatched the original episode and enjoyed that one.
Sure.
But
and of course, what Thomas is speaking about is Balance of Terror from the original series, but kind of just to pop back in to what your point was.
Yeah, it's it's great. And we get to see the James T. Kirk character as a little bit different character, because he's not the command of Star Trek in this or not the command of the Enterprise in this episode. So he doesn't have his companions of Spock and McCoy and Scotty, and so he's a little bit of a different character, but he still has the spunk of James T. Kirk. But it was nice seeing the dichotomy of both Kirk and Pike, and how they handle situations, and how this situation needed a Kirk as opposed to a Pike. And it's a time travel kind of story that kind of plays with sort of the I'm thinking of the Christmas story where with the three ghosts. It sort of like has that kind of element to it, where
Scrooge
like,
McDuck.
Yeah, sort of kind of lets Pike know that maybe he shouldn't mess with the future, and to let things play out how they should. And but yeah, they do it perfectly. And I love the the future Pike that shows up, and he's in that uniform that
everything about this, at the right times, at the right moments, they pay homage to the original series. And you're right, you're spot on. And they, like I said, I guess it was maybe worth it to have suffered through Discovery and its garbage sack, because I don't think that we would have the lessons learned from that one and from Picard, from Kurtzman, and we would have got this kind of fine of a product. So this is pinnacle apex. They do everything that they try to do or they try to attempt in Discovery that they nail. They just nail it. I mean,
Yeah.
there is no, there is no, well, maybe, no. This one is solid. And I can't recommend this series enough. Like it should bring back that original, like we just kind of had a ranty episode of our grab bag. And like, this is when it's done right. And you keep those hardcore fans, you keep the super fans satisfied, that's going to get and grow mighty from this one little,
this is one where you're pleasing the fans, and the fans are going to go out and say, oh my god, you got to watch this series, and you're going to pull in audience from the fans, the absolute rabid fans saying, oh, you got to see this, you have to see this. And like you said, this episode is like the cherry on the top. It's like the perfect cap for the season, and it makes you want more.
I would go out on a limb and say very easily, in 60 plus years of Star Trek, 1966 or whatever it was till now, maybe this one for the first season for a Star Trek series, I gotta say this one is this. I'm not gonna say it's number one, but damn, I would say that it arguably beats out TNG, and it's kind of apples and oranges because there's only 10 episodes, but they're just so good episodes. Even the filler one was Star Trek through and through, as it were. But maybe Deep Space Nine season 1 could give this one a run for its money. But god damn, they really they nailed it. And I'm just shocked at like it's such a breath of fresh air, like, because it's just been, like, I'm more of a Trekkie fan than I am a Star Wars fan. Always have been. I still enjoy the expanded universe before they shit can that. And I read every other book. Kevin J. Anderson wrote amazing Star Wars books too. So did he. I think he did some Trek books, but that's neither here nor there. But like, while we were kind of mentioning Dune and Brian Herbert, he doesn't do anything. He doesn't do anything with Kevin J. Anderson. But anyway, kind of going back to this, I really kind of wish, I'm kind of jealous. Like, you did the right thing. Like, you actually went back and watched Balance of Terror. And it would have just been icing on the cake for this. So like, you asked me like what the best episode was. I gotta say, between this one and the first season or first episode, I would say probably this one. This was probably my favorite, most satisfying. It hit all the feels. It hit all the Trek, all the nerd wobbles. All the good things.
I think before this one, Memento Mori would have been my favorite.
Interesting.
Which was the other Gorn, the first Gorn episode. But yeah, with after seeing this final episode, I'm definitely full on episode 10.
All right, yeah. So I guess that kind of brings up anything else you want to cover on the last episode before we get into like the ranking here.
Just that I loved how with the original episode and this episode they kind of mirrored things, and how in this episode, since it's in the future, they treat. I liked how the actor that portrayed Spock went more analytical. With his earlier performance, he was more emotional because he was still dealing with his emotions. But with this, he's fully entrenched in the Star Trek universe of the original series, where he's more logical based. And I loved how he was more logical in this, and that in this episode when they realized that the Romulans looked like Vulcans, they raised his eyebrow. And in the original episode, he did Leonard Nimoy did the exact same thing. That was a kind of nice touch
Fascinating,
there.
Captain.
Yeah, fascinating.
Yeah.
But yeah,
All right,
yeah.
cool. Yeah, no, I agree. I don't really have anything original to say other than I echo your comments, and they
To
nailed it.
anticipate next season, they did say that they were going to try to get um Kirk in future episodes of the series. So that'd
Yeah,
be kind of interesting to do.
yeah,
And
I will be.
I really like the actor that portrayed James T. Kirk in
Yeah,
this.
they
He
did good.
didn't he didn't overact like William Shatner would have. But
He held his own.
yeah, it was a nice portrayal. It was different than what uh Chris Pine did,
Mhm.
which Chris Pine did a great job
Oh yeah.
as
Oh, yeah.
James T. Kirk, but it was a different take on it, and I enjoyed it.
Yeah, same here. Yeah, I don't have anything original. I'm just, and I've said it throughout the coverage of this. I was really hella skeptical.
Mhm.
As a California kid say, hella wicked. I guess that's
Mhm.
Boston, but hella wicked, scared,
Mhm.
nervous about this until I saw. I was like, okay,
Yeah,
all right, I'm there. You know,
I didn't really have to physically twist your arm, but
no,
it
no,
felt
no.
it felt like that I had to twist a little bit to get you to watch. But
Yeah, I was just gonna honestly, I've been burned before, and I was just gonna like, oh, that's nice. Maybe I'll catch up with it later on. But you were like, no, 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 it's good. And I
Mhm.
was like, all right, oh, let's see how good it is. And you
Mhm.
watch it, and it's like,
Mhm.
all right, cool. I'm
Yeah.
down. It didn't take much, but I'm glad
Yeah.
because I had been burned so badly
Yeah.
by Discovery, and I just can't. You want to talk about a spectrum on a scale of what does suck and is horrible. That's Discovery. That's Star Trek
Mhm.
Discovery, and I will and I pounded that home many times. But if like just what a bag of shit that was compared to this, I mean, it's the top of the mountain. It's just
Mhm.
it's that good. They
Mhm. Yeah.
finally
Yeah.
finally did it.
Yeah. And if I could twist an arm, I'd wish I could twist Red Letter Media into watching this. I think
Sure,
I
though.
think I think they would enjoy it.
Yeah, I saw kind of a little bit of a kickback for some of the other fans of Red Letter Media and their positive take of Kenobi, which who cares, man?
Yeah.
Just watch it. You
Right.
like it. Like,
Right.
don't crap on some. This is the problem that I have with the hate watchers. You have to be careful of,
Mhm.
because it's just a never-ending vortex of negativities to a point. To a point. And you
Mhm.
just have to be careful. You just have to watch it in balance,
Mhm.
with that. But
Yeah.
this
I
delivers
don't.
100%.
Yeah. I don't care for hate watchers. I have never hate watched something, so I don't
Yeah,
know that mentality. I really don't.
yeah. I like to follow hot takes or whatever just for entertainment's sake. But at the end of the
Mhm.
day, I have way more positive Star Wars YouTube channels than I do the negative ones.
Yeah.
Like the negative ones, like it's kind of like a broken clock. It's right twice a day, but not much better for that.
Mhm.
And it's, don't get me wrong. Like I have my culture wars thing that I like to, kind of sit back and
Yeah.
watch for
Yeah.
entertainment. But for the most part, like, Stupendous Wave, that's a good
Mhm.
Star Wars channel. There's Star Wars Explained, or I don't know, it's whatever. Anyway, I was going to mention a bunch. Anyway, kind
Yeah.
of this, who cares about that? But
Yeah.
kind of pulling it back
And
to a
look
Star
at
Trek.
look at the rating on this episode, 9.2 out of 10.
It's pretty good.
That's
And
a great rating.
it's authentic too. Like that is
Mhm.
100% on point for it. That's one of the things, like, you kind of have to be, unfortunately, in this day and age. Ratings, you kind of have to take with a grain of salt a little bit,
Mhm.
but everyone that I've seen, I've kind of loosely paid attention to the ratings on
Mhm.
this on IMDb, and it's been pretty consistent.
Mhm.
Every the ones that sucked, or not sucked, but like they were kind of more down and out, like the Elysium
Mhm.
whatever one we just talked about at the top of
Mhm.
the show. That one was a 6. That wasn't
Yeah,
a 4 or 3 or
yeah,
2. It was a 6. It
yeah,
was okay. It was okay.
yeah, and that's probably the least like between us. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Anyway.
we thought we'd spend a lot of time on that, but but I think
Yeah.
we are in agreement. Episode 10 was the best.
Mhm.
And then that Elysium was probably the least favorite. But here's a question that I don't think we thought about.
Mm.
Which is your favorite captain among the Star Trek
Oh boy.
genre?
It's changed over the years. It used to be default Picard.
Mhm.
But I think that as time has gone on, I think that my favorite is Benjamin Sisko. I think that's my all-time favorite captain, and I love it because Deep Space Nine was so dark for Star Trek, and
Mhm.
we've covered Ronald D. Moore,
Mhm.
which is in one of your favorites that had
Mhm.
a pretty good another science fiction series that he did, but he did a lot of his test writing, or not test writing, but like
Yeah.
his more darker writing
Kinda,
on Deep Space Nine,
yeah.
and it worked, and I love that. I love that. It
Mhm.
was like down and out kind of wartime Federation
Mhm.
Star Trek that like it just, as I get older,
Mhm.
Picard is obviously like great and wonderful, but to be honest with you, like the fact that they would revisit that, and not just leave it be, with Picard, the newer Star Trek
Mhm.
series, like it kind of run that character for me a little bit. It kind
Mhm.
of soured it. So that would be my answer would be Benjamin Sisko. Like I love that. I love that. Matter of fact, I'm probably due for a good Deep Space Nine rewatch. Now I mentioned
Mhm.
that. But how about you? How about you turn it back to you? What
Okay.
was your favorite?
Um, well, I haven't seen Deep Space Nine, and they actually mentioned that series when they were talking about the 10th episode, because I
Mm.
guess in one of the episodes of Deep Space Nine, they uh kind of revisited the Trouble with Tribbles episode.
Yeah, they did. They did. They did.
And
They did.
so yeah, that was
It was
kind of fun to
kitschy,
see.
campy.
Yeah, so for the limited stuff that I've seen, my favorite has always been James T. Kirk, but
Okay.
Chris Pike is kind of starting to edge out Kirk as
Really?
far
Wow.
as my favorite. Just because I just love his personality, and
Mhm.
I do like Next Generation. I love Picard, and like I said, I haven't seen Deep Space Nine or Enterprise or any of the others. So
You're probably
those
not missing much.
yeah.
You should watch. You should at some point watch Voyager. You should at some point watch Deep Space Nine. Scott
Mhm.
Bakula. As much as I love Quantum Leap and Scott Bakula as an actor, Star Trek Enterprise was only one that the super fans loved. That like it was like
Mhm.
kind of on, and then it kind of just whatever. But it is what it is. So.
All right. So I think we're in agreement. We're really looking forward to season 2.
Oh yeah.
Um, and I've been promoting this on Twitter, and every time we put out an episode, I try to promote it as much as I can. But yeah,
Mhm. Yeah.
this is
Yeah. If only they would have stuck with this, if they would have started with this, a few years ago. Well, it wouldn't be what it is. It would have been, whatever. Doesn't matter. It
yeah,
shoulda, coulda,
yeah, and
woulda.
I think in our grab bag episode we have a soapbox in it, and I think we stood on it and we kind of banged our gavel about fans, and this is sort of like a series that was catered to the fans, and
Yep.
yeah, I don't know, like you said, I don't know if it was too little too late, or because like Red Letter Media has already kind of turned their backs on it, and they're like huge Star Trek fans, so
Hmm.
I don't even know if they've watched it or even care about it. uh but this is a show worth watching. I definitely recommend it, and yeah.
Yeah, I think Red Letter Media, though, they're so big they can essentially ignore deadlines and
Mhm.
timelines. And what I would mean by that specifically would be they have a following. The people are going to follow them whether they
Mhm.
put it out a month later, a year later, or whatever. Probably not that far, but you know,
Mhm.
they make good content, and kudos to them for making good content, because
Mhm.
I didn't watch them too much before, honestly, before we started doing this show. I don't think
Mhm.
I didn't even think I was a subscriber to them in
Mhm.
general. I think you turned me on to them, honestly.
Yeah.
I don't recall them being ever in my YouTube channel list, but regardless, you
Mhm.
know, I think that they will eventually turn around and cover it. Maybe it would be interesting to see that. I do like their takes. I don't watch everything to the final, to the end, the last minute.
Mhm.
Sometimes it kind of gets a little bit repetitive. But you know, it's valid criticism. They're funny. They have hot takes that are funny. They're
Mhm.
entertaining. But yeah, maybe
Yeah.
they will. I hope they do. They're
Yeah.
missing out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wish this was everything that I wanted Discovery to be,
Mhm.
as far as it goes, like just to continue on. And I consider this an apology to the regular Trekker, from Alex Kurtzman.
Mhm.
And he redeemed himself. He redeemed this. This is his Star Trek. It works. You did a good job.
Mhm.
So pat on the back. You know,
Yeah.
good job, good job, good job.
Yeah, and from what I saw of the making of the 10th episode, I think there was like uh they kept showing interviews with guys, and I think there was like three different showrunners for it, and I forget who the first showrunner was, but yeah, the guy was the one that wrote the 10th episode, and he was the one that was tying into the balance of terror and everything, and yeah, it seems like it's in good hands outside Alex Kurtzman.
Yeah, I'm looking up to do justice to that.
Hmm.
Sam Rolfe. Oh, yeah, Sam Rolfe. I think. Oh, you know
Okay.
what? Never mind. Nope. I'm not even gonna bother.
Yeah.
Last minute Google skills suck. But and the only reason why I say it is because it's really hard to find, and even though we've been using IMDb, it's really a pain in the ass to try to find specific things. And I'm sure I'm doing it all wrong, but whatever. Any showrunner, they did a good job. They did a good job. Writers,
Yeah.
here we go. Yeah, not really. But see, this is what I'm talking about. But anyway, yeah, no, this kind of brings up and buttons everything up.
Hmm.
You know, I know they've done like animated Star Trek stuff. I don't care to go into that. And I've heard that nothing bad about it, but I just, you know, it is what it is. But
Oh yeah.
I don't want to be disappointed. So like,
Yeah.
this was a roll of the dice for me, and it ended up going very, very
Oh,
well.
and the showrunner that I was thinking of is Henry Onso Myers.
Okay, very cool.
So yeah. But yeah. So yeah, he I think he was very heavily involved in that last episode as far as getting uh kind of tying it in with the balance of terror. So
They did good. They did good.
yeah, that
Beyond
yeah,
good, actually.
yeah, that's his name there here, Henry Myers or Onslow here. Oh, anyway.
Yeah. Anyway, so this is a big fat recommend
Mhm.
from us to you,
Yeah,
dear
watch
watcher.
this series. Get your Paramount Plus uh
Load it up,
and
and it's cheap.
and watch it, yeah, and yeah, yeah, since I have Paramount Plus, I watched Beavis and Butthead, the newest movie.
That's cool. I've heard
And
that that's out. That's out in the mini,
mhm,
one of many, from Mike
yeah,
Judge.
yeah,
Yeah, he's a great creator for sure.
yeah, anyway.
Cool. Yeah. Anyway,
So
so that kind of brings us up to the very end. We're not
mhm,
quite sure where we're going to go with this. We're just going to keep it kind of close to the chest, and
mhm,
if we end up you know, spawning out from this, and we'll see. We'll see.
mhm,
But I can definitely tell you, I have no doubt that I hope we're doing the podcast still. But whenever season 2
mhm,
comes out, we'll definitely fast track that and watch it and cover it.
Mhm.
Probably, I would probably want to take season 2 a little slower,
Mhm.
and do a little bit more justice instead of like a mini series, like where we cover, 2 here, 3 here, yada yada. I think that that would probably line up a little bit better, but we'll see. We'll see.
Mhm.
But season 2,
Mhm.
they're coming back, so I'm good. I'm happy with that.
Yeah. Yep.
Cool, cool. Anything else to add, my friend?
Yep. We don't have a 5-year mission, but
No, we don't.
we're here to serve you.
Yeah, hit it.
Yeah, hit it.
Yeah, yeah. But with that being said, I've been Mike,
And I'm Thomas.
and don't forget to subscribe to the first, the last, the Nerdom on YouTube.
Mhm.
And
Yep.
thanks again. Thanks for
Yep.
watching.
See you in the stars.
Awesome.